At 61, Melissa Gilbert finally tells her very own about Dean Butler. Melissa Gilbert was born Melissa Ellen Gilbert on May 8, 1964 in Los Angeles, California. She was adopted by actors Paul Gilbert and Barbara Crane when she was just 1 day old. Growing up in Hollywood, she was around the movie and TV world from when she was very little, which made her want to become an actor too. Her childhood had some hard times, like when her adoptive parents got divorced and later when her father died. But Melissa learned to be strong and never give up. This helped her through her work life and personal life. Melissa Gilbert's big break came in 1974 when she got picked to play Laura and Wilder in the famous TV show Little House on the Prairie. She was only 9 years old when she started playing the happy and kind pioneer girl. This part would make her famous and help millions of people around the world love her. The show was based on Laura and Wilder's popular books and ran until 1983. It became one of the most loved family shows on American TV. Melissa's actingus Laura, who was often called half-Pimpy Michael Landon's character Charles Ingalls, was praised because it felt real, showed deep feelings, and was charming. Through this role, she became a symbol of being innocent, strong, and never giving up. These things really licked people's hearts and made her a famous name everyone knew. After Little House on the Prairie ended, Melissa kept working regularly in TV shows and movies, showing that she could act in many different ways. Not just as a kid, she starred in lots of TV movies, including dramas, movies about real people, and family stories. One important role was when she played Helen Keller in Miracle Worker in 1979, acting alongside Patty Duke, who played it Annie Sullivan. This performance showed she could handle very emotional and difficult characters. She also appeared in other memorable movies like Choice Off the Heart in 1983, which told the sad true story of missionary Jean Donovan, and Family Secrets in 1984. These projects let her show how many different types of characters she could play while keeping loyal fans who had loved her since her Prairie days. Besides acting, Melissa Gilbert became an important person working behind the camera too. She grew her career to include directing and producing, making her mark as a person who could do many creative jobs in Hollywood. Her leadership skills and love for telling stories also led her to become the president of the Screen Actors Guild from 2001 to 2005, where she fought for the rights and safety of actors. This job not only showed how much she cared about other actors in the business, but also made people respect her as a leader in the entertainment world. In 2008, Melissa Gilbert once again stepped into the world of Little House on the Prairie, but this time in a very different way than the role that made her famous as a child. Instead of playing Laura Ingalls, she took on the character of Caroline Ma in the musical version of the beloved series. This casting was especially special because it showed how Gilbert had grown from the young pioneer girl into the mother figure of the Ingalls family, creating a full-circle moment that realistic people who had followed her career for many years. The production opened at the famous Guthrie Theater in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a place known for starting new and big theatrical shows. It was directed by Francesca Bello, a well-known director famous for her work in opera and musical theater. The musical brought new life to Laura and Wilder's timeless stories. The production also had actress Cara Lindsay, who played Laura and Lindsay's young portrayal of Laura alongside Gilbert's performance as Mac created a mix of different ages that showed Gilbert's own change from child star to experienced actress. The musical mixed old memories with fresh new ideas, appealing both to longtime fans of the Little House shows and to new audiences who didn't know about the TV series. Its run went through October 19, 2008, and people liked it so much that they started a United States tour in 2009, the tour of Little House on the Prairie. The musical let people across the country see the production, spreading the lasting charm of the Ingalls family for beyond Minneapolis. For many fans, seeing Melissa Gilbert live on stage in a role so closely tied to her famous past was both moving and inspiring. The tour itself was a big job, traveling across many cities throughout 2009 and into 2010. Each show brought with it a sense of history as people watched Gilbert play a role that represented strength, motherhood, and never giving up qualities long connected with Caroline Ingalls. The tour ended in June 2010 at the Starlight Theater in Kansas City, Missouri, marking the end of a 2-year journey that celebrated both theater and television history while making Gilbert's place solid as an actress who could easily move between different Types of entertainment. Almost 10 years later, in March and April of 2018, Melissa Gilbert went back to Thestage in a completely different kind of theater show, proving how many different things she could do as an actress. She starred in an off-Broadway show off Girl Dean Aaron's one-woman play, My Brilliant Divorce, originally written in 2001. The play, a funny but touching look at a woman's experience with separation and starting over in middle-age, gave Gilbert a chance to command the stage entirely by herself. Unlike a group-driven musical she had performed in years earlier, this close-in personal production required her to hold the audience's attention all by herself, delivering both funny timing and deep emotions. Beyond her Carrie successes, Melissa Gilbert's personality has been filled with both wins and struggles, which she has faced with courage and honesty. She has been open about her fights with drinking problems, money troubles, and health challenges, including back surgery. Instead of fighting these struggles, Melissa used her experiences to inspire others, writing about them honestly in her books, Prairie Tale in 2009, and My Prairie Cookbook in 2014. Her openness about her weak points has made her an even more relatable and admirable person, showing fans that strength is found not in being perfect, but in bouncing back and being able to get up after falling down. Melissa Gilbert's personal life has often been something the public was very curious about, partly because of her famous marriages and her ability to stay open and honest about the happy times and challenges she faced along the way. Her first marriage was to actor and director Bo Brinkman, whom she married in 1988. At the time, Gilbert was already well-known in the entertainment business, having grown up in front of audiences Laura and Almanzo Wilder on the beloved series Little House on the Prairie. Brinkman, who was part of a well-known Texas family and also trying to make it in acting and directing, seemed to match Gilbert's lively personality. Their marriage, however, was not without its problems. Despite moments of happiness and the birth of their son, Dakota Paul Brinkman in 1989, the couple had fights that eventually became too big to fix. After 6 years together, they divorced in 1994. A decision that marked a difficult but necessary turning point in Gilbert's life. The breakup was a time of change for her as she learned to balance being a single mother with her demanding career in Hollywood. In 1995, just a year after her divorce from Brinkman, Gilbert married again, this time to actor Bruce Boxleitner, who was well known for his roles in Scarecrow and Mrs. King, Babylon 5, and the Tron movies. Their relationship was notable both for how long it lasted and for the ways it brought two families together. Boxleitner already had 2 sons from his previous marriage, and Gilbert, bringing along her son Dakota, found herself learning the hard parts of being a stepmother while also making her own family bigger. In 1995, Gilbert and Boxleitner welcomed a son of their own, Michael Garrett Boxleitner, named to honor Gilbert's mentor and Little House Echo star, Michael Landon. For over 10 years, Gilbert and Boxleitner's marriage was seen as a stable and lasting Hollywood union. They often appeared together at public events, with Gilbert balancing her roles as actress, author, activist, and mother. Yet, after 16 years of marriage, the couple announced their separation in 2011, saying they had differences they couldn't work out. The divorce was finalized later that year, and while it marked the end of another chapter in Gilbert's personality, she stayed strong and determined to move forward. A new beginning came just 2 years later. In January 2013, Gilbert's representative confirmed that she had gotten engaged to actor and director Timothy Busfield, who, like Gilbert, was a familiar face to audiences thanks to his work on 30-something, The West Wing, and many stage and screen projects. Both Gilbert and Busfield had lived through the ups and downs of previous marriages, and their union showed a deeper maturity and appreciation for companionship. They married on April 24, 2013 in a private ceremony that was intimate rather than flashy, showing their desire to focus on love and partnership rather than Hollywood show-off. Following their marriage, the couple settled in Howell, Michigan, where they lived from 2013 until 2018. The move was a notable shift away from typical Hollywood lifestyle, as Gilbert and Busfield wanted a quieter, more down-to-earth life in Michigan. They embraced a sense of community and simplicity, with Gilbert often talking about how much she appreciated the chance to live outside of the non-stop pace of Los Angeles and New York. Their years in Howell were marked by a commitment to family life and to supporting each other's creative work, with both Gilbert and Busfield doing projects that showed their passions rather than simply chasing fame. By late 2018, however, the couple decided on another change. they moved to New York City, putting themselves once again in a lively cultural environment. The move showed their desire to stay connected to the arts as New York offered chances in theater, writing, and creative teamwork. Yet, even as they embraced the excitement of city life, they longed for a home that would give them peace, privacy, and a connection to nature. That same year, they bought a cottage in Catskill Mountains in upstate New York. For Gilbert, who has always spoken fondly of simple living and treasured the lessons she learned from playing Laura in Wilder, the cottage presented a return to something real and grounding. She and Busfield began a major renovation of the property, not just treating it as a getaway, but seeing it as their permanent home. They put time and energy into changing the cottage into a space that showed their shared values, comfort, creativity, and a deep connection to the land. This home became a symbol of the couple's new chapter, one that put love, stability, and the slower rhythms of life over the pressures of being famous. Melissa Gilbert, beloved by millions for her unforgettable portrayal of Laura and Wilder on the hit series Little House on the Prairie, has spent most of her life in the spotlight. Throughout her career, she has often spoken honestly about her experiences growing up in front of the camera, her struggles, her wins, and the relationships she built along the way. Yet for decades, there remained one subject she rarely talked about in detail: her working relationship with Dean Butler, the actor who played her on-screen husband, Almanzo Wilder. Fans had long wondered about what their relationship was really like behind the scenes. And only recently, at the age of 61, did Gilbert finally decide to open up fully about that unique chapter of her life. In thinking about Butler, Gilbert began by talking about the strange situation of their on-screen pairing. Dean came into the show at me when I was still very young, both as an actress and as a woman, she explained. Here I was, a teenager, still figuring out who I was, suddenly paired with a man who was older, handsome, and expected to play the lovey of my life on screen. It was scary at first, and I wasn't sure how I would handle it. Her words showed the nervousness she felt stepping into a storyline that required her to act grown-up while she was still very much in the process of growing up. Melissa was quick to say, however, that Butler's profession and kindness helped her adjust. Dean was incredibly respectful, she said. He knew that I was young and that the romantic storylines could be awkward for me. He never pushed, never made me uncomfortable, and always treated me like an equal partner in those scenes. That meant the world to me because it gave me the confidence I needed to grow into the role. Fans of Little House often remember the tender chemistry between Laura and Almanzo. And no, Gilbert credits Butler with making that possible by creating a safe, supportive working relationship. But Gilbert's thoughts weren't just about professionals. They also touched on the lasting friendship that grew from their time together. Dean and I have stayed in touch over the years, she shared. He's one of those people who'll always hold a special place in my heart, not just because of what we created on screen, but because of their respect and kindness he showed me during a very important time in my life. Her words carried an unmistakable sense of thankfulness, highlighting that the bond they formed went deeper than just acting. She also admitted that for a long time she avoided talking about her relationship with Butler because she didn't want it overshadowed by gossip. People are always curious about what went on behind the scenes, Gilbert said with a laugh. They want to know if there was ever romance off screen. And the truth is there wasn't. Dean was older, more experienced, and who understood the boundaries of our working relationship. What we had was mutual respect and a kind of brother and sister closeness, but nothing beyond that. It was never romantic, and I think that's why it worked so well, because we were able to focus entirely on telling Laura and Almanzo's love story without confusion. Her comments finally put tourist years of fan theories and gossip about whether their on-screen chemistry exited into real life. Instead, Gilbert painted a picture of a relationship built on professionalism, friendship, and trust. I don't think I could have asked for a better partner during those years, she said warmly. Dean helped me grow, not just as an actress, but as a person. At 61, Melissa Gilbert's thoughts on Dean Butler carry the weight of looking back. They show a woman who has made peace with her past and now embraces the chance to celebrate the people who shaped her journey. Her honesty shows an important truth that the relationships built in our growing up years, even in unusual situations like growing up on a television set, can leave lasting marks on our hearts. For fans of Little House on the Prairie, her words provided not only closure, but also a deeper appreciation for the bond that helped bring Laura and Almanzo's love story to life in such a genuine way.